Playing with Power MTG. Powerful cards, powerful formats. Before we get into tonight's game, I wanted to ask a question. Do you have extra cards lying around that you don't use? Want to buy or trade for some extra cards but don't know how to maximize the value? Then you should try out today's sponsor, Card Conduit. Card Conduit is the best service when it comes to selling your extra cards. Don't waste hours trying to find the best buy list price for your cards online. Simply send them to Card Conduit and let them take care of the rest. I have used Card Conduit multiple times already. I always use them to get the best value for my extra cards. I get fair prices for my cards and they save me tons of time. They have three main services. Their standard service lets you send them your unsorted cards of any value. They will sort, grade, and give you the best price for your cards. Their curated service is similar. Send them your unsorted cards worth over $1 in value. They will charge half the fee of the standard service and charge no fee per card. Their sorted service is a great value as well. Choose cards in advance with their selection tool, send them sorted to Card Conduit, and they will grade and buy list them automatically. Save yourself the time of having to send to multiple sites and let Card Conduit do it instead. Their fee is only 2% with no fee per card. They give you the best price for your cards. They work with competitive buy listing partners, including ones not open to the public. Users get an average of 19% more for their collection than they would from any major retail buy list, even with Card Conduit's fees. Card Conduit also optimizes buy listing for card condition as well. Since vendors have different penalties for wear and tear, Card Conduit will find the best buy list priced against the specific condition of the card. So give Card Conduit a try today. If you sign up with my link in the description below or use the promo code POWER, you will also get 10% off of their fees when you use their service. A big thanks to Card Conduit for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's start out by showcasing our fighters this evening. First, we have Liliana piloting Kirik, son of Yawgmoth. This is a turbo ad nauseum version looking to execute graveyard-based combos with cards like Necrotic Ooze. Liliana's opening hand contains a Swamp, Dark Ritual, Night's Whisper, and her 4 London Mulligans are Swamp, Sacrifice, Crystal Vein, and Villas, Broker of Blood. Next, we have Skylar piloting the partner pair of Tevesh Zot, Doom of Fools, and Kraum, Ludovic's Opus. This is a mid-range deck seeking to resolve Displacer Kitten and then move into Breach and Oracle win cons. Skylar's opening hand contains a Sol Ring, Mox Opal, City of Brass, Force of Negation, Vampiric Tutor, Lotus Petal, and a Misty Rainforest. After that, we have Alex piloting Kinnan, Bonder Prodigy. This is a Simic value deck seeking to cast its commander and use it to cheat huge threats onto the battlefield. Alex's opening hand contains a Forest, Basalt Monolith, Apex Devastator, Verdant Catacombs, Thought Vessel, Gemstone Caverns, and a Reclamation Sage. Finally, we have Sage piloting Birgi, God of Storytelling. This is a mono-red storm deck seeking to use its commander for additional mana or a card advantage engine on the flip side. Sage's opening hand contains a Lion's Eye Diamond, Chromatic Star, Seething Song, and their 4 London Mulligans are Sensei's Divining Top, Chrome Mox, Gutshot, and Dockside Extortionist. Without further ado, let's kick off this Thieving Thorough Thorny Thistle. Liliana had the most on-theme playmat and gets to start us off. But Alex has a pre-game action and puts Gemstone Caverns onto the battlefield, exiling Reclamation Sage. Liliana draws a card for turn and plays a Swamp. She casts Dark Ritual, adding 3 black. She casts Night's Whisper, drawing 2 cards and losing 2 life. She casts a Blood Pet and passes the turn. Skylar draws and plays a City of Brass. They tap it to cast a Sol Ring. They cast Mox Opal. They cast a Lotus Petal. They cast Ponder. They look at the top 3, don't like what they see, shuffle, and draw. They cast a Jeweled Lotus. They cast her commander, Kraum, Ludovic's Opus. They move to Krombat and attack Liliana with Kraum. Liliana takes it and Skylar passes the turn. Alex draws and plays a Verdant Catacombs. He cracks it, pays a life, and fetches up a tropical island onto the battlefield. He casts a Thought Vessel and gives the turn to Sage. Sage draws and casts a Lion's Eye Diamond. They sack their Lion's Eye Diamond, discard their hand, and cast their commander, Birgi, God of Storytelling. Kraum triggers and Skylar draws. All in and all through, Sage passes. Liliana draws and taps a Swamp for black, then plays Lake of the Dead, sacrificing her Swamp. She casts Sign in Blood, drawing 2 cards and losing 2 life. Liliana ends her turn. Skylar draws and plays a Misty Rainforest. They crack it, pay a life, and fetch up a Volcanic Island onto the battlefield. They cast a Mana Crypt. They cast their commander, Tevesh Zot, Doom of Fools. They activate Tevesh's first ability, creating 2 Thralls. They move to combat and attack Liliana with Kraum. Liliana takes it, and Skylar ships the turn to Alex. Alex draws and plays a Forest. He casts his commander, Kinnan, Bonder Prodigy. Alex gives the turn to Sage. Sage draws and moves to combat. They attack Tevesh with Birgi. Skylar blocks with a Thrall, and Sage passes the turn. Liliana draws, takes no actions, and passes. At the end of Liliana's turn, Skylar taps their City of Brass to cast Vampiric Tutor. They fetch up a card onto the top of their library and lose 2 life. The turn moves to Skylar. During their upkeep, Skylar loses their Mana Crypt roll and takes 3 damage. They draw and tap their City of Brass to cast Displacer Kitten. They activate Tevesh's first ability. In response, Liliana casts Victim of Night, targeting Displacer Kitten. In response, Skylar casts Cut Down, targeting Alex's Kinnan. Kitten triggers, targeting itself. Kitten's ability resolves, flickering itself. Then Cut Down resolves, Kinnan is destroyed and then Victim of Night fizzles. Then Tevesh's ability resolves and Skylar creates 2 thralls. Unfortunately thwarted though, Skylar has to pass. Alex draws and casts Phyrexian Revoker. It enters and Alex names Tevesh Zot, much to the dismay of Skylar. With nothing else, Alex passes to Sage. Sage draws and moves to combat. They attack Tevesh with Birgi. Tevesh takes it and Sage gives the turn to Liliana. Liliana draws, takes no actions, and passes. During their upkeep, Skylar wins their Mana Crypt roll. They draw and cast Imperial Seal. Kitten triggers, flickering Mox Opal. Then Skylar fetches up a card onto the top of their library and lose 2 life. They cast Wheel of Fortune. Kitten triggers, targeting Mox Opal. In response, Sage casts Deflecting Swat for its alternate cost, targeting Kitten's trigger. Birgi triggers, adding a red. Then Swat resolves, redirecting the Kitten trigger to one of Skylar's thralls. Then Kitten's trigger resolves, flickering a thrall, removing it entirely. Then Wheel resolves, and everyone discards their hand and draws 7. Skylar plays an Exotic Orchard for turn. They cast Deadly Rollick for its alternate cost, targeting Phyrexian Revoker. Kitten triggers, flickering Mox Opal. Then Phyrexian Revoker is exiled. Next, Skylar activates Tevesh's second ability, sacrificing a thrall, drawing 2 cards. They cast Mox Diamond. Kitten triggers, flickering Tevesh Zot. Then Mox Diamond resolves, and Skylar discards Command Tower. They activate Tevesh's first ability, since it is now a new instance of Tevesh, creating 2 thralls. They cast Entomb. Kitten triggers and flickers Tevesh. Then Entomb resolves, and Skylar fetches up a Brain Freeze into their graveyard. They cast Underworld Breach. Kitten triggers, targeting Mox Opal. In response, Alex evokes Endurance, exiling a green card. In response, to save their turn, Skylar casts Swansong on their own Underworld Breach. Kitten triggers, flickering Soul Ring. In response, Sage casts Pyroblast, targeting Swansong. Birgi triggers and adds a red. Then Pyroblast counters Swansong. With Endurance still on the stack, Skylar casts Ad Nauseam. Kitten triggers, flickering Soul Ring. Then Ad Naus resolves, and Skylar reveals a Spell Pierce, Steam Vents, Force of Will, Rhystic Study, Gemstone Caverns, Wooded Foothills, Mental Misstep, Fatal Push, Morphic Pool, Brainstorm, Deflecting Swat, Unsubstantiate, Demonic Tutor, Mindbreak Trap, Rite of Flame, and Athas's Oracle, deciding to stop there. Then Endurance resolves, triggers, and targets Skylar. In response, Skylar casts Deflecting Swat for its alternate cost, targeting Endurance's ability. Kitten triggers, flickering Mox Opal. Then Swat resolves, redirecting the ability to Liliana. Then the ability resolves, and Liliana puts her graveyard onto the bottom of her library in a random order. Next, Skylar casts Rite of Flame. Kitten triggers, flickering Tevesh. Then Skylar adds 2 red. They escape Wheel of Fortune. Kitten flickers Soul Ring, then everyone discards their hand and draws 7. Skylar activates Tevesh's second ability, sacrificing a thrall, drawing 2 cards. They cast Mana Vault. Kitten triggers, flickering Mox Opal. They cast Felwar Stone, and Kitten flickers Mana Vault. They escape Brain Freeze, with all copies targeting themselves. Kitten triggers, flickering Mox Opal. Then they mill the rest of their library. They escape Chrome Mox, imprinting Stern Dismissal. They escape Thassa's Oracle. Oracle enters, and Skylar wins the game. What a fun game. Let's go again. In this game, Skylar brings back Tevesh and Kraum, and their opening hand contains a Brain Freeze, Soul Ring, Vampiric Tutor, Blood Crypt, Rite of Flame, Volcanic Island, and a Geist Wave. Alex brings back Kinnan, Bonder Prodigy, and his opening hand contains an Island, Lurking Predators, Priest of Titania, Gemstone Caverns, Nature's Claim, Soul Ring, and a Sylvan Library. Sage brings back Birgi, God of Storytelling, and their opening hand contains a Mountain, Simian Spirit Guide, Sensei's Divining Top, Dualcaster Mage, Tybalt's Trickery, Infernal Plunge, and a Flamekin Harbinger. Liliana brings back Kirik, Son of Yawgmoth, and her opening hand contains the City of Traders, Lake of the Dead, Dismember, Snuff Out, Sensei's Divining Top, and 2 Swamps. And Skylar gets to start us off. But Alex has a pre-game action and puts Gemstone Caverns onto the battlefield, exiling Nature's Claim. Skylar draws and plays a Blood Crypt into play untapped, paying 2 life. They cast a Soul Ring and pass the turn. Alex draws and plays an Island. He also casts a Soul Ring. He casts a Priest of Titania. Alex ends his turn. Sage draws and plays a Mountain. They cast Flamekin Harbinger. It enters, and Sage searches their library for a Grinning Ignis, putting it on top. They exile Simian Spirit Guide from their hand, adding a red. They cast Infernal Plunge, sacrificing Flamekin, adding 3 red. They cast their commander, Birgi, God of Storytelling. They cast Mox Amber. Birgi triggers, adding a red. They cast Sensei's Divining Top, adding a red through Birgi. They activate Sensei's Top, looking at and rearranging the top 3. All through, and with an explosive turn 1, Sage passes. Liliana draws and plays a City of Traders. She casts a Soul Ring. She casts a Sensei's Divining Top. Liliana passes. Skylar draws and plays a Volcanic Island. They cast Rite of Flame, adding 2 red. They cast their commander, Kraum, Ludovic's Opus. They move to combat and attack Sage with Kraum. Sage takes it, and Skylar ends their turn. Alex draws and starts off by casting his commander, Kinnan, Bonder Prodigy. He casts Bloom Tender. Kraum triggers, and Skylar draws. He casts Sylvan Library. Alex gives the turn to Sage. At the end of Alex's turn, Liliana activates Sensei's Top, rearranging the top 3. Then Liliana pays 4 life to cast Dismember, targeting Birgi. In response, Sage activates Sensei's top, rearranging the top 3. They activate top, drawing a card and putting top on top. They cast Deflecting Swat for its alternate cost, targeting Dismember. With no responses, Swat resolves, redirecting Dismember to Kinnan. Kinnan dies, and the turn moves to Sage. Sage draws and casts Sensei's Divining Top. Birgi triggers and adds a red. Sage activates top, rearranging the top 3. They move to combat, attacking Alex with Birgi. Alex takes it, and Sage ships the turn to Liliana. Liliana draws and floats mana from City of Traders. She plays a Swamp, sacrificing City of Traders. She pays 6 life to cast her commander, Kirik, son of Yawgmoth. She casts Mox Amber. Kraum triggers and Skylar draws. Liliana passes. Skylar draws and plays a Bloodstained Mire. They crack it, pay life, and fetch up an Underground Sea onto the battlefield. They cast Dockside Extortionist. Dockside enters, and Skylar creates 7 treasures. They cast Desperate Ritual, adding 3 red. They cast Vampiric Tutor. They fetch up a card onto the top of their library and lose 2 life. They cast Brainstorm, drawing 3 and putting 2 back on top. They cast Displacer Kitten. They cast Geist Wave, targeting their Sol Ring. Kitten triggers, targeting Dockside. In response, Liliana pays 4 life to cast Snuff Out, targeting Dockside. Kirik triggers and gets a +1/+1 counter. In response, Skylar casts Brain Freeze with all copies targeting themselves. Kitten triggers, targeting Dockside. In response, Liliana activates Sensei's top, looking for an answer. She looks at and rearranges the top 3. Then she activates top, drawing a card and putting top on top. Then, with no other answers, Kitten's ability resolves. Dockside flickers, creating 6 treasures. Then Brain Freeze mills some of Skylar's library. Then Snuff Out and the first Kitten trigger fizzles. Then Geist Wave resolves, Sol Ring bounces, and Skylar draws a card. Skylar recasts Sol Ring. Kitten triggers, flickering Dockside, creating 6 more treasures. They cast Talisman of Dominance, and Kitten flickers Dockside again. They cast their commander, Tevesh Zot, Doom of Fools, flickering Dockside through Kitten. They activate Tevesh's second ability, sacrificing Kraum, drawing 3 cards. They cast Underworld Breach. Kitten triggers, flickering Tevesh Zot. Skylar presents a loop of escaping Brain Freeze, triggering Kitten, flickering Dockside, creating treasures, and milling their entire library. They escape Thassa's Oracle. Oracle enters, and Skylar wins the game. Ladies and gentlemen, what a match. Congrats to Skylar on both of their wins tonight. Tevesh and Kraum proved once again how powerful it can be at CEDH tables. It wasn't an easy victory, however. Many players at the table had resources to try and stop Skylar's attempts. Skylar was able to fight through them and seize victory tonight. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode. Tune in next time when we duke it out to see who will be king of the competitive EDH table. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.